just 20 days ago we had the Western New Year, and now on Sunday the Chinese Vietnamese New Year. And Nip brought these nice flowers as decoration for the Chinese New Year. So New Year is a good occasion to reflect in which direction do we want your life to go. And one way to do that is to have some resolution or aspiration. Isn't this, having this resolution and or aspiration, then you have this as a guiding principle, and you train yourself, you align your actions by body, speech and mind according to that resolutions or these aspirations. And a nice example for that are the 7 resolutions by Sakka, the king of the Tavatimsa Devas. By practicing these 7 resolutions, he became king of an entire deva realm. So in Buddhist cosmology, the Buddha says there are different kinds of devas, like divine beings, in different levels, some higher, some lower, which have qualities which are higher than human beings and more lofty and wholesome qualities. And so already, say, to be reborn in a royal family and then becoming king or queen of an entire country, that you have to have made some past kamma in the previous life to get into this position. So what do you think? What kind of kamma do you have to do to make to become king of an entire deva realm? Of course, the Buddha would know, because with his abilities he can see how beings arise and pass away according to their kamma. So he would know why certain beings have been reborn in a certain realm and can see that directly. And in one case, the Buddha actually tells us why Sakka, the king of the Tavatimsa Devas, has reappeared there. That he tells us this resolution that this king of the Devas made in the previous life when he was a human being. And because of them, he has been reborn as in this realm. And so I'll just read them briefly and then talk more about it. So in the past, when Sakka was a human being, he adopted and undertook these 7 resolutions. As long as I live, may I support my parents. As long as I live, may I respect the family elders. As long as I live, may I speak gently. As long as I live, may I not speak divisively. As long as I live, may I dwell at home with a mind devoid of the stain of stinginess, freely generous, open-handed, delighting in relinquishment, devoted to charity, delighting in giving and sharing. As long as I live, may I speak the truth. As long as I live, may I be free from anger, and if anger should arise in me, may I dispel it quickly. So why does the Buddha tell us about these 7 resolutions? Obviously, he wants to inspire people to develop these same qualities as well. And so any being can undertake these 7 resolutions and develop one's own actions accordingly. And obviously it will be for great benefit of that person. And yeah, I like them because they are a nice set in addition to the 5 precepts. And of something practical that you can use to train yourself to become a different kind of person. Yeah, the first one, as long as I live, may I support my parents. The Buddha says that a true person, he says, if a true person acquires wealth, then he uses it for his own benefit, and then next also for the benefit of mother and father. So yeah, either supporting one's parents materially by one's wealth or by helping them, or even better, supporting them by helping their Dhamma practice, by encouraging them to practice generosity, observe precepts, increase their Dhamma knowledge, and practice meditation. Yeah, that's also something that I'm doing at the moment, of supporting my mother in her Dhamma practice, by exchanging with her, encouraging her. And yeah, the Buddha says that this is actually the higher form of benefiting one's parents. You can obviously support your parents by materially or by helping them, but then the higher form of supporting your parents is to encourage the Dhamma practice, because that has much greater benefits in this life already and then also in future lives. And so the Buddha says that this is the only way you can do even more for your own parents than they have done for you, if you encourage them to develop Dhamma qualities and practice the Dhamma. So in this way one can supporting one's parents materially or the Dhamma practice. Yeah, being respectful, the attitudes of being respectful that leads to a harmonious interaction in a group, and also a smooth functioning of a community that encourages friendliness and kindness. And the Buddha even set the monastic community up in a way where, as part of the structure of the monastic Sangha, is that the monks have pay respects in order of seniority, and so he saw this important principle for community harmony. And even if we disagree with someone, we can still be, at least we can make an effort to still be respectful rather than disparaging them. And we can, let's say the Buddha also says, or in the Vinaya it also says, for example, a junior monk should, for example, tell a senior monk if he's about to make an offense or if he has wrong views. But even if, let's say, if you're a junior monk and correct a senior monk, you can still be respectful rather than criticizing him. And so even also that is possible. As long as I live, may I speak gently. The Buddha describes it very nice. He says, he speaks such words as are gentle, pleasing to the ear, lovable, that go to the heart, are courteous, desired by many and agreeable to many. So in this training oneself to speak in this way, and then abandoning divisive speech and using speech that promotes harmony and unity rather than creating divisions, rather than making people more averse to each other. one doesn't say something which would people divide from each other. Talking with someone else about a third person, so that they get less close or get averse to each other. Rather, that he's one who reunites those who are divided, a promoter of friendships, who enjoys concord, rejoices in concord, delights in concord, and is a speaker of words that promote concord. Yeah, then, as long as I live, may I dwell free from stinginess, practicing generosity. As the Buddha says, sharing one's wealth, benefiting oneself and the parents, the family, the friends, and other people. And there the Buddha says the best motivation for generosity is using it for developing the citta, the heart. Basically, one can use, in the sense of practicing generosity, as a tool to develop inner qualities. For example, if you practice generosity, say giving something with an act, with an attitude, and developing loving kindness, for example, or sympathetic joy. Also, so for example, if you practice generosity, you also you can notice that you can develop these other inner qualities. It's not just exchanging a material object, but you can use it for developing these other qualities. For example, it's an act of loving kindness, of giving this item, and also not having this sense of mudita, for example, of sympathetic joy. Or you're noticing that by practicing generosity, you're giving away something that belongs to you, and it's actually something pleasant and uplifting. And often, if you give a gift to a friend, you actually are very happy to give away this item, even though it belongs to you. And so, noticing that the cessation of clinging or seeing something as mine is actually something nice. As long as I live, may I speak the truth. A powerful aspiration. One is someone to be relied on, dependable, not the deceiver of the world. The truthfulness has a much deeper influence than one might think. Because the aim of the Dhamma practice is to see things as they really are and to abandon ignorance and delusion. And to do that, you have to gradually abandon various layers of deceptiveness of the mind and also unclarity of the mind. So for example, if you want to be able to reflect about your own actions and the state of your mind, then you have to develop some truthfulness, in the sense of the less you have the quality of truthfulness, the less you will be able to actually recognize what you're doing and is that beneficial or not. And that the mind has this tendency to be unclear about one's own actions and be deceptive. We don't, for example, we don't notice what are the qualities in our mind or in our heart. But if the truthfulness is lacking, and at least so basically developing truthfulness on this level on this basic level at least, and to be able to recognize whether what you are saying is actually true or correct or not. And so that's in a way important, at least on this outward level, at first to abandon these more coarse forms of deceptiveness, so that one can see truth on a more deeper level, then gradually. As long as I live, may I abandon. As long as I live, may I be free from anger, and if anger arises, may I abandon it quickly. It's also a training of the mind, and the sense of recognizing when does aversion arise in the mind, then already having the mindfulness, noticing where it arises, when it's not so strong yet. And then practicing to abandon it. Even better if it doesn't let even arise. If we do depends on the level of our mental development, but if we, depending on how far we develop the mind, then it arises less and less, so we don't have to make less effort to abandon it, while it only arises in a weaker form. These are the 7 resolutions of Sakka, the king of the Tavatimsa Devas. Obviously one can aspire to much higher things than that, more lofty things. But even just undertaking the 7 resolutions is something extremely rare, if you think about that. Now, how many people in whole Australia would make a resolution like this? That is the 7 adhitanas. Unfortunately, very few, and so anyone can become one of them. That's to make these resolutions to truthfulness and to right speech and all these other qualities. In a way, this is also the idea of the Dhamma practice, that our citta develops qualities that are beyond the level of a human being. Gradually, by practicing the Dhamma, the qualities in the citta become more sublime or more bright. So basically, by developing Dhamma practice, that we become a different kind of being on a step on the path to liberation. And so basically the effect is, say, if you undertake these resolutions and practice in accordance with them, of aligning your actions by body, speech and mind according to them, then you will gradually become a being beyond the level of an ordinary human person. And you will become a being with divine qualities. And the Buddha also teaches sometimes the recollection of the devas as a practice, the purpose to recollect them is that these devas became devas because they developed these wholesome and lofty qualities. And recollecting that one is developing the same qualities that these devas already have. And by this recollection, there is something that the citta gets uplifted by that, the heart and mind, and can develop qualities of samadhi. And these 7 resolutions of King Sakka, they're also a good teaching about the power of your own actions. That seeing that the power of your own actions and your own determination can carry you very far. It can to become a king of an entire deva realm, this of experiencing hundreds, millions of years of happiness. And this is just, in a way, the beginning, how far the Dhamma practice can carry you. So this seeing that, how powerful our actions can be if we develop them in a systematic way and align them to the teaching of the Buddha. And this way, we're becoming a different kind of being. So one can develop these 7 qualities, and I think once a year I like to talk about these 7 resolutions for New Year, because at least I find it a nice thing to reflect on what can you aspire to, or what kind of resolutions can you make, and then do something similar to have some direction for your life, and seeing where do you want to develop.